Hey, hi, hello, how you doing? Wireshred here. Actually, pause on that really quickly because today I am so excited I want to get straight into it. I mean, any day I get to listen to new Stray Kids music is a good day. To address the elephant in the room, I'm well aware that it's already been a couple days since it was released, but I've been so behind on catching up to well, everything. I mean, I only just listened to the new Flow album this morning, and I think they were released on the same day, if I'm not mistaken. Stream Therapy at the Club, by the way. Pretty good album. I don't think it's as good as their first one, but sophomore albums usually do have kind of a dip, but I am confident in them nonetheless. But to kind of explain, I mean, there's not really a need to explain, it's pretty predictable. I've just been busy with a lot of adult stuff, responsibilities, work, everything else that life comes with, that I've just slipped up on my hobbies entirely, and today I've gotten a day that's completely clear that I get to recoup on everything I missed out on. I knew that I wanted to record my initial reaction to this EP. Whether I actually decide to upload it is another thing entirely. But since I am notoriously slow at editing, this will probably end up being uploaded, if I do upload it, a week after the release, so you can blame me for that one. With that being said, let's not delay any further and actually get into this and that. To state the obvious, I cannot play the music on YouTube or I will get copyrighted to high heaven, so instead I will do as I have done usually with first listen-throughs and listen to it on my own and then give my thoughts immediately. Then I'll wrap up with my thoughts on the album in its entirety. Now, let's get this show on the road. For the first track, already listened to it, pre-release, run it, loved it. I think I did upload a community post about it soon after it was released. I think I've deleted it since because I mentioned in it pretty briefly that I thought it might rival my love for S-Class. For those of you that don't know, I consider S-Class to be Stray Kids' best title track, truly a 10 out of 10 in their discography. Since then, though, I think my kind of excitement has died down a little bit. I think I was just super hyped in the moment. I still do think it's really good. I really like it. I would probably give it a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. My first immediate reaction was, I remember at one point, for those of you who are more in the know for Stray Kids' stuff behind the scenes, not just the music they release, I think Bing-chan talked about in one of the Two Kids rooms, the most recent edition of it, where he talked about they're gonna go in more of a My Chemical Romance direction, and I don't know why, but I really felt like this is what he was talking about. Maybe I'm making that up and I'm just trying to fit it together two jagged puzzle pieces that kind of look like they match with each other. That's what it gave me, and I was really happy with it. Also, shout out everybody who was a My Chemical Romance fan before they got into K-pop. I am in the same boat. We are all in this together. Hoorah. Anyway, since I already listened to Run It, let's get into the second track, which is, of course, the title track, called This and That. Why do they sound like they're in a tin can? I mean, Han sounds good, don't get me wrong, but there's such a stark difference between the chorus and then going into the verse. Oh, that's so cool. I love how crisp the production is. Yeah, see, it's still there. That's so interesting. It almost sounds grainy, the chorus. I love the fact that Ian is a part of the verse, because usually he's restricted to either the chorus or the pre-chorus. Maybe the bridge. Oh, hold on. Oh, that's such a weird effect. That's different. They didn't do that before. Oh, that's so weird. That's Hyunjin, I think. And it's like they're doing a warping effect on his voice. I don't know if that's I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to be intentional, but it sounds like they're almost putting him down a pitch. I don't think I heard that in the other members' voices. I wonder if it's merging. You know what? Let me finish the song and then go back. Singman Bridge. Love. Love, love, love. Never mind, he had 2 lines. Oh, I like that. I really did like that. Um, oh, first thoughts. Let me try to compile it all together. I think this song is really reminiscent of something that I've wanted to see in their title tracks for the longest time. I made that video a while back of being like, oh, title tracks are the only ones that matter in K-pop, and I don't believe that on a personal level. I like listening to B-sides of any artist, right? But when it comes to the grand scheme of people's perceptions of an K-pop groups, specifically image and sound and everything, like title track is the only thing that is considered in that equation, conversation, etc. One of the things that I've really loved about Stray Kids recently, and the one that this song reminded me of immediately, was Jam from 8. It had a very similar feeling, and first of all, I love Jam. I love Jam so much. That is my song. I listen to it all the time. And it has a certain flair that I've been wanting to see from Stray Kids in a title track, to kind of integrate that into their overall image. And I think This&That accomplishes that quite well. I'm actually super curious. Hold on. I want to see something. Ignore my stuff there. I need to download the song. No, not Scratcher. Stasher. No, not Stretcher. Holy shit. What? Am I having a stroke? Stasher. Jesus. You guys are getting a little peek behind the curtain right now. A couple people have asked me in the past, like, what I use to grab music videos, music off the web and everything like that. I use Stasher. It's free. You don't have to deal with ads. It's super convenient. The first thing that came up with was their music video. Oh, Singmin is on the cover of the music video. I love that. Okay, this is completely... this is off topic, like, completely. But I feel like it would be such an interesting conversation to have about the importance of who is on a K-pop music video thumbnail. I don't think it would be a particularly long or deep conversation, but I do think that there is something there that I would love to have a discussion about. And I do think that it's specific to K-pop, because usually, like, Western artists, first of all, there aren't a lot of, like, girl groups and boy groups outside of K-pop that are, like, really popping off right now. I'm not really considering Flow in that conversation. I know I mentioned them up top in this video, but I do think it's, like, a K-pop specific thing. I would love to... That's something I need to break down more in my free time. Where is it? Okay. I grab the MV. It should... Oh, fuck. I'm stupid. Extract. Okay, I'm gonna wait for that to load for a second. Okay, while that's going, I'd love to have a longer discussion about that. I really wanted to get a look at the instrumental of this song because I love it so much. The one thing that I'm kind of iffy about is probably the chorus, and not even in the lyric sense. I'm not gonna lie, I picked up on that, like, Americano or cappuccino line pretty quickly, and it makes sense in the context of the song. I'm not really mad at it lyrically, but I think in terms of delivery, it sounds off to me, and I don't know why. Especially compared to the lines before and after it, it sounds odd. Now, the chorus in its entirety, sorry, sounds like it's in a tin can. I don't know what's up with that. Very fun. Love. What I'm really interested about is the ending section of the song, because that sounded dope. I got so excited when this started playing. Hold on. Oh, it's here specifically. Love. I wish that was a bigger part of the song. That was just the outro. And don't get me wrong, I love the rest of the song. It's good. I do think that, I brought up Jam earlier, I do think that in comparison to Jam, This&That is a little bit more simplistic in a way that I don't necessarily like. I understand that, like, a thing that I've brought up before is, like, title tracks have to be broadly appealing. Stray Kids don't necessarily fall into that quite often, but I do think that in their own way, they tried to make title tracks a little bit more easier to digest. I know people who don't like Stray Kids will hear that and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? When have they ever been, like, easily digestible? But I do think that compared to their more experimental stuff that pops up into their B-sides, their title tracks are definitely of that vein. I still like This and That. I just wish that ending section was a bigger part of the song. I wish it was the like main flavor, because that's where, not where I really started to get into it. I really like the song. I just feel like that's where I got hyped up the most. Oh, sorry. That's not a song. Hold on. Okay, so it's after Ian starts singing. It's literally like the last, 15 seconds of the song. Like, do you know how sick that would be if that was like a dance break? I feel like if you moved this to the bridge section, maybe before or after Singman sings, it'd be really cool. End the song in a really grandiose way where you like change the last section of the chorus. Not too much, but just like add a little bit more synths to make it like really explosive. That'd be cool. Okay, but let me get into it. There's definitely more variation in terms of who is actually singing and rapping in this song. I noticed that immediately. I think I pointed it out, like, oh my god, Ian's in the second verse. Like, I don't remember the last time that happened. Everybody sounded really good. Again, aside from the chorus, I don't think it's like super abrasive though. I think it's probably something that I will get used to as I keep listening to it. It's just immediately there's a very clear distinction between chorus and verses and the bridge and like the rest of the song even. I don't know why that was done. It sounds grainy, almost out of a tin can. I think I said it initially, like as soon as the song started, I was like, oh, I checked, again, this is another peek behind the curtain, so to speak. The Wizard of Oz is showing his machinations behind the screen. I have like a Blue Yeti mic because it's a pretty good mic for the price that it's at, right? It's considerably cheap and it doesn't sound like absolute garbage. But a downside of it that I would caution people against if you were interested in it is that the ports on it are quite loose. And because of that, I, plug my headphones into the mic. They come loose every now and again. And when I'm listening to music, it'll sound like really distorted. And I'm like, there's no way that so-and-so meant to have their song sound like this. I check the port and it's like, yep, it's loose. It's loose. I have to adjust it so it'll sound better. Sound like how it's intended, I should say. And I literally did that because I was like, that was odd. It almost sounds like instead of a reverb, they put a very, very small echo on it. That's what it sounds like. Not an echo. The word's not coming to me in my head. It feels like it's on the tip of my tongue, but it's not coming to me. Again, the delivery of Americano and Cappuccino feels awkward in the flow of the song. I think, like, the longer I think on it, it's because that specific line compared to like, oh, I'm gonna go to a show and I'm gonna rip a show and then go to the studio is like a lot longer. Whereas like Americano and Cappuccino is just 3 words and you have to stretch it to make it fit that time frame. And I think that's why it sounds awkward to me. Even the transition into, that's Hyunjin, right? Yeah. Like you can hear Hyunjin echoing in the background of Han's verse, and then he like smoothly transitions into his bars. That's so cool. That part also love. It's really great. It kind of reminds me of how they use the sample in Venom from their Ordinary album, where like they use that to like draw out the tension and then kind of make it not climactic, but it is a lead up into an eventual almost like a mini drop in the middle of the song. That's cool. I wonder if that part of the song could have been better. Because I know what they're going for, but I don't think it sounds particularly good. I feel like maybe if they had just one person shouting this, or maybe 2, what I would guess just from like past experiences watching like them recording songs, they have that on their channel. It's usually like 3 Racha doing like the shouting sections. I really feel like it would have sounded better if it was just like a singular person doing that shouting section. Okay, this is what I was really curious about. I don't know if I'm hearing things. I might include this in the video, I don't know. But it feels like they're doing a manipulation to Hyunjin's voice that they didn't do for anybody else during their chorus sections. It almost sounds like they pitch down his voice slightly while he's speaking. So it's not like he recorded a line and they pitched the entirety of it down. It sounds like it's being pitched down as he says it. Right? And then he's followed up by Bang-chan, and I almost, for a second, I was like, oh, did Bang-chan come in already? I thought, like, he had to complete the line. It almost sounds like they're merging into, like, one voice. Like, that sounds like Bang-chan. And then that's Hyunjin again. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking that. Anyway, I spent a lot longer on that than I intended to. Okay, I really like that song. After that, we're going to be... Nope, don't do that yet. After that, we're going to be listening to After You. Okay, so unfortunately, that was a lie. As soon as I was getting ready to listen to the third track of this EP, I immediately got interrupted with something urgent that I had to take care of, so it's a little bit later in the day, but still same recording day, it works. Anyway, now I can get into After You. I really like this trend of Felix using his voice in a more natural way. Oh my god. Oh, what is the artist's name? Oh fuck, I don't know how to spell it. Oh, Avicii. That's immediately what I thought of when I heard the beat drop. Yeah, I immediately thought like early 2010s. I really want them to do something different before the end of the song. Okay. So, off the top, I think I have a lot less to say about this song than I did about This and That. I was not expecting this kind of track after the title track. Usually when it comes to Stray Kids' ordering, they have the first couple of songs be really hype-oriented, a lot of EDM, and then as you get lower and lower down the list, you start getting into more, I guess I would call this a sentimental song. So yeah, I wasn't expecting to encounter a song like this early. You saw me, I immediately looked it up because it was immediately the vibe that it gave me, but Avicii, I think he passed away, unfortunately. I don't remember exactly when, but I do remember that, like, oh wow, he's still really prominent. 41 million listeners. I mean, yeah, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. But I could definitely see the influence from that. It's really interesting, though. I feel like this is very reductive. I think Stray Kids have always done this kind of music before. The one that immediately comes to mind is... why am I blanking out on it? Hold on. Yeah, I'm not really surprised that this kind of song is here. Which one am I thinking of? Take your pick. The View, Star Lost. I wouldn't put Secret Secret in that category. I don't know. My point is, it's not unexpected for Stray Kids, but it's also really... It's so much more generic than it usually is. Like, I brought up the other examples like Star Lost and The View, and while you could definitely see the influences in those songs, they were also very categorically Stray Kids. After You, though, very much feels like a song that they could have pulled off of a producer and then just sung the vocals over. This was so weird. Where? Karma. Let me think. Which one was it? See, I would probably... Phoenix and Ghost are also that era of pop music, but I feel like even then, the production and everything is like a lot more crisp. Like, there's just in general a lot more things happening in those songs, whereas like with After You, it's like verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, done. If anything, I feel like After You did a similar thing with This and That. Also, again, I'm coming back to the ordering of these songs. To have this one after another, I would say that in terms of, when it comes to the arrangement of the song, it's the same, but the sounds are so crazy. Like, This and That is categorically Stray Kids. After You, is this Stray Kids specific? It feels like anybody could have sung this. Anyway, going back to my point, I feel like After You did a similar thing where in the last stretch of the song, it switched it up very minutely, and then it just quickly ended. Hold on. it was the bridge going up and then the beat drop. Okay, so it does a fake drop and then it goes to Bang Chan and then it's gonna go into a drop after he stops. Or finishes. There you go. I don't hate the song. Let me be clear. I am confused by it, but I don't hate it. I'd probably listen to it. But it's like, is this Stray Kids though? I made reference to Ghost and Phoenix from the other track, but I feel like even putting those in the same category feels wrong to me. I'm so confused. I mean, they're always there as lyricists. That's not really a surprise, but this felt very, I don't know. Let me listen to it one more time. No. Sorry, coughing. You know what it reminds me of? I was thinking of Phoenix and Ghost, but it reminds me of F&F a little bit. Are they? Hold up. No. Okay, it's not. I was psyching myself out for a second. I thought they started the same. But you see what I'm talking about, right? Like, it's the guitar in the background and then a synth over top of it. But I feel like even F&F, Flowers and Fauna, that's what F&F stands for. This one was so much better. Like, I've mentioned in a different video how I consider 5-Star to be Stray Kids' best album. I really like F&F. I'm not against Stray Kids having songs like this, but After You just feels so stripped back and absent of anything Stray Kids, honestly. Like, he even had something as simple as just the drums driving it forward. And then here... Do you guys want to listen to my dogs? Is that what you came to this video for? Yep, guitar. Obviously not the same melody, but guitar and then synths are gonna come in. I'm not a big fan of it. Please don't laugh when I say this. It kind of reminds me of Hellevator in the sense that it very much feels like a beat drop that would happen in like the early 2010s. As opposed to a, YouTuber gamer outro like with Hellevator, this feels like an intro maybe. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the song. I feel like I keep going back to this. There's nothing wrong with it per se, but I'm just like, I don't know. Okay, I keep going back to other Stray Kids songs because the more I listen to it, the more it reminds me of other Stray Kids songs that are in the same vein, but better. And that feels like an asshole thing to say, but that's genuinely how I feel. It's there, it's acceptable, I'm not mad at it, but I'm not happy about it either, to be perfectly frank. You know what it might be? Hold on. I don't know. I wonder if this is the only reason why I went to Adele's upcoming album. By the way, I still haven't watched Dream Academy or whatever. This is not a video about Cat's Eye whatsoever. But I have been hearing about Adele's singles and songs and everything like that. And I was coming from a perspective where I didn't even know that she was a part of the program, that she was a part of the show. So I learned about her and I started loving her just from the music she was putting out. So learning that she was a part of the show after the fact was a surprise to me. But the only reason why I brought it up is because she released a single called Ain't in LA very recently that I feel like maybe I need to think a little bit more. Is there like a resurgence of like 2010s pop coming back? Is that going to be like our version of recession pop? All right, anyway, next, farming. Ahead of this, I'm not gonna lie, I'm worried about farming. And the reason behind that is K-pop has a tendency to grab slang and words that crop up on social media. I'm sure TikTok is like a big resource from them to kind of grab vernacular that's maybe having a resurgence. I think that's what a lot of these terms are like. Farming is one of them. And trying to integrate them into their songs, I feel like that is a detriment to a lot of the K-pop songs. I think one of the examples that gets brought up the most, and I will continue that trend because it's very correct, by the Rizness by Taemin, 2023, 3 years ago. My goodness. I remember listening to this album, and I think I generally liked it. And I even liked the Rizness. I just really resented the fact that they were trying to shove this word into the lyrics when it absolutely did not need to be there. And if anything, it just dated the song and dragged it down. And I feel like the real pioneers of doing this, maybe it happened before them, and that's fair, but I feel like the ones that really popped off doing it was probably with Blackpink and Savage. Like, who says Savage anymore? Nobody. Not a damn person. Nope, you don't gotta play the song. I feel like they started a trend that I hate to this day. I'm not saying anything specific when it comes to Stray Kids' inclusion. I don't think have they done a lot of that? Maybe they have, and I'm just not coming to me off the top of my head. Yes, they do. I'm sorry, I'm lying. I was thinking strictly of the music, but no, Stray Kids themselves have done this a lot. I don't know what it is, but Han specifically has, if you don't know Stray Kids too well, he has an obsession with the word skr. He loves saying that shit. I think it might be the way that he uses the words repeatedly reminds me a lot of my friends who have autism. I'm not saying he has autism. Okay, I'm gonna move on. I'm being serious. I'm not being sarcastic. I promise you. Okay, farming. Finally, let's play the song. Goodness. I guess we have lyrics now. Oh yeah, I already see it. This already kind of reminds me... Oh my god. Okay, hold on. Let's go back. This kind of already reminds me of Item. I really like that. Okay, I am personally aggrieved by this song. First of all, I don't really like the vocal effect that's used on this part. We're gonna see how it continues further down, but you cannot release a song that says you're gonna work every minute after you released, oh god, was it Photo Book last time? It was Holiday. You can't pull up with a song saying that after you released Holiday. Not even, when was this? Okay, it's almost been a year. You can't do that though. A narrative has been spread and you spread it yourself. Anyway. That's so Big Chan too. I know the vocal effects are being put on it, but it's so obvious that it's him. Okay, I wanted to let it finish before I had what I had to say. Already going into it, the vocal effects that they're using so far, I'm not a huge fan of. I don't like it. This section specifically though, nothing about this up here was super egregious. I mean, I'm not a fan, but it is what it is. This here, though, I'm realizing pretty quickly that my issue isn't even with their use of the word farming. At least they're using it correctly. That's one upside of this. My issue is that it's empty. Why is it empty? I know that there was a trend for K-pop songs. It was before I was super into K-pop for them to have like empty choruses, right? Empty beat drops. Stray Kids are not one of those groups that need to be doing that. Why are we doing that? Why is a Stray Kids song empty? I'm telling you right now, I would have loved this section of it so much more if it had other shit going on. But it's literally just the continuous synth, sorry, my brain blanked out. And then, who is it? It's probably Felix saying farming, right? I don't know why, but my brain is telling me that's Han, and then they pitched his voice down considerably. Other shit needs to be going on. I don't like how empty it is. Okay. And see, my point is proven exactly, because once we get this past this point and we hear Singmin singing it, and then we hear the ad-libs underneath it, it sounds so much better. That sounds sick. I love this part. This is the second verse. Love it so far. I think I want to take the instrumental of this and look at it also. Okay, before we get to the new section of the song where I'm assuming we don't have that much time left, so I think we're going to go into a new section and then end off immediately without going to a third chorus, which is fine. Again, not a big fan of how empty this is. It's even more stark and evident to me when you pay attention to the verses themselves. Again, I feel like this is a similar issue that I had with This and That, but like to a more extreme degree. Like with This and That, I'm like, okay, I think I could get used to this. This isn't like atrocious. It just might be like a production choice that is confusing at first, but it's not the end of the world, I should say. This one though, I'm like, even if you wanted to have kind of an empty chorus, I don't know why you would choose that synth to go along with it. That seems like such a odd I'm not a big fan of it. But also where my brain is going immediately, I don't know if this song will be one that has a music video. Usually the title track will get a music video and then one other song, we'll see which one it is. I don't think we're there yet. I'm trying to imagine how they would perform this in concert. Like what choreo do you do while this is playing? I don't know. Okay, anyway, are we just gonna repeat farming? Nah, we might. Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off. What is wrong with you? Okay, sorry. My reaction was like that because all of the issues that I've had with the first 2 minutes of this song, I'm like, why didn't you have something like this during the chorus? Why? All right, keep going. Dude, is that the last minute of the song? No, it's not. It's the last 30 seconds. Do not piss me off. I'm gonna listen to it from start to finish. I'm not gonna say anything. Okay. I've listened to it from front to back. Okay, listen. Altogether, I see a vision. To be clear, I still have a problem with this portion of the song. Like, if you wanted to do an empty drop, what a strange synth to use. Second of all, if that is the synth that you're going to use, I don't think that you should be going for an empty drop at all. And then second of all, the vocal effects on these specific lines is very off-putting to me personally. I get that they're trying to manipulate the voices to sound like none of the members, but it's not effective, number one. Number two, you could have done so in a way that wasn't, how should I say this? Dumb. I think dumb's the word I'm looking for. And again, the last, like, where does it start? From this point forward, 40 seconds of the song, I really like it. I still liked it more than After You. I'll be honest, I do. We'll see how the rest of this plays out. And again, while I was listening to the song, I did all of this in FL Studio so you wouldn't have to watch me do it all over again. And I wanted to just quickly go through it. You know what it is? It's a kind of instrumentation that I don't think fits the core theme that they were going for. Stray Kids often go into like braggadocious territory, which I do like them for. This one specifically is about what I assume it is about, is them wanting to continuously work forward even when that might be quite irritating to someone who, you know, isn't done yet. They feel like they have more that they want to put out into the world, and you telling them to rest is like, no, I don't want to do that. Stop telling me to do that. I understand that. I don't think that this instrumentation is fitting for that, because it feels, honestly, it is pretty off-putting. It's not bad, though. I feel like it could go really good in like is horror the right word? I immediately thought of like The Backrooms when I started listening to that. And it's a good feeling. You know what it reminded me of? A little bit. I'm not saying it's even in the same ballpark, but I was listening to Borders. Is it Borders of Canada? Borders of Canada. They came out with a new album. And this kind of reminded me of it. Now, I will say that this album in its entirety is a lot more cinematic. I am not putting them side by side and saying that they're similar, but I feel like even the instrumentation on the farming could have been used in a sample in one of these, and I wouldn't have even blinked an eye. I don't know if anybody would call me crazy for that. It just doesn't sound like it's a part of a song where you would expect someone to be bragging about their work ethic. Like, I don't know if that was the right choice for this song. Again, at the risk of beating a dead horse, I don't think that this is the kind of synth that you play for an empty beat. All right, track number 5, I Do. This is gonna be another pop rock song, isn't it? I don't know why they felt the need that they had to scream that section of it, specifically Changbin's part. It sounds like he's screaming. I don't think he is, but it sounds like it, and it doesn't sound good. Alright, we have another stomp clap song. Not a big fan of that. I'm not really liking the melodies in this so far, and it feels like the flow that they're doing in the rap sections feel very awkward and clunky, and I think it's because they're trying to adjust that to the pop rock sound, and it doesn't sound as good. Like, even Singman doesn't sound like he's in tip-top shape in this song. The guitar is a nice touch. I just really wish they would stop with the stomp and clap thing. Like, let the guitar carry it. You don't need to do it this much. I think this has been present for the entirety of the song, hasn't it? I didn't even feel the need to look up the lyrics. I'm assuming it's gonna be like a similar thing with In My Head. I remember that from the Karma album. That's immediately what I thought of when I started listening to this. Okay. I think it's pretty obvious right off the bat that I'm not a fan of that. Pop rock in general, I'm not super into. Pop rock is really hit or miss for me. Most of the time it's a miss. There's very few examples of it really hitting close to home for me, and it's never happened within the K-pop space. It's not a Stray Kids specific thing, it's just any time they've tried to do it, I just don't like it. I immediately thought of In My Head from the Karma album. Hold on. But I still do think, like, In My Head is better than I Do. Because they're not doing the stupid stomp and clap thing. It's a cliche, but unless you're going to do something interesting or different with it, it's just like, don't repeat the same thing over and over again. Yeah, no, I like this one better. I think the chorus, though, is like, okay, it's not a literal stomp and clap in My Head, but the idea is there. So I don't know if I'll be able to do a proper commentary on this song because it falls into a genre that I straight up don't like. Pop rock songs always bleed into each other for me to the point where I can't tell the difference, and I can't tell the difference between a good pop rock song and a bad pop rock song. You saw me, I immediately went to In My Head from the Karma album. I don't know, it's like I'm generally fine with songs, rock songs that have a flair, maybe a tiny minutia of pop songwriting, but not a total fusion of the two. It takes the most redundant elements of both genres and combines them into a mediocre, redundant end product. It rubs my gears in more ways than one, from a personal taste perspective, from a conceptual perspective. Like, to take rock, a genre meant to be rebellious and adventurous, and to tone it down for general consumption sounds like a stupid idea for me from, like, square one. That being said, I Do isn't dissimilar to In My Head. However, since Karma dropped, I have kind of come around in My Head. I remember when I did the review for the Karma album, I did label it as one of my skips, and since then I've kind of lightened up on it. I still don't actively seek it out, but it's kind of wormed its way into it being a track that I don't outright skip. And who knows, I Do might accomplish the same thing, but I don't see a future where that happens. I feel like I Do has a similar vibe, concept, not the exact same lyrics, but it's a similar messaging where I'm just like, I'd rather listen to In My Head than I Do. That's honestly where I'm at with this track so far. I'll be honest, I don't have an interest in dissecting this song as I did with the others. So instead, I kind of want to talk about how we got here, honestly. Stray Kids have always included features of rock into their songs from the beginning. I mean, they had whole tracks whose, like, driving force was rock. I think, they have a whole song called Rock from their debut EP. If I can spell their name correctly, that would really help. They have an album called Rockstar, I should say. There you go, from the compilation album. They re-recorded it, Rock. To be fair, this one is referencing, lyric-wise, rock, paper, scissors, and it's also saying how they want to live as a rock. I'm not going to get into it for those of you not in the know. But it is a double entendre, since they also include the genre of rock music as well, and they do it quite well. There you go, you have even a playlist of how they integrate it into their songs, and I generally like it. I'm not against it. But in recent years, and why I tend to have an issue with the newer iterations of it, is because the primary role and the secondary role of the genres have changed. And by that, I mean, if Stray Kids were to have made a rock-inspired song earlier in their career, it would have taken the primary role, and pop would have been secondary in terms of songwriting. Slowly, those roles have shifted. They flipped. In the current day, when Stray Kids make a rock-inspired track, pop takes main stage, and then rock elements are interjected when needed. And I think that comes out to a song that I just don't gravitate towards. Like, oh my god, even Night, I love... Okay. I'm trying not to go on different tangents. I swear I'm not. But the Japanese release that they did, was it 2 years ago now at this point? Giant. It was 2 years ago at this point. This album, underrated. And it's underrated because it's a Japanese album, but it's so good. It's so good. Anyway, not the point. Go back to This and That. I mean, I even brought up the Rock album, which is newer. That one is from 2024, right? I swear it's from 2024. That's also not how you spell album. Okay, I'll be honest, my keyboard is like behind my mic, and I have trouble seeing it, and that's why I'm having this issue. I promise I'm not illiterate. 2024? 2023, earlier even. I love this album too. I literally have all of the tracks in my liked songs. I think the reason why this album was so good for me was because there was such a balance of pop, rock, and then obviously the funk music that they introduced into the title track of Law. But as I've said, I don't like the newer iterations of this in my head. I've grown adjusted to it, so I don't outright skip it now. But, like, I don't see the same thing happening with I Do. It just strikes me as lazy songwriting, like those two songs. I just don't feel anything from this kind of music. Like, nothing excites me about it, not the lyrics or the instrumentation. It's just boring. It's music that you put on in the background. And it's like, yeah, being a pop rock song is an element of that. I was never going to like it in the first place. But Stray Kids have done a mesh of those two genres in a way that I appreciated in the past. These two newer iterations just feel lazy. Anyway, now that my spiel is done, I think we've gotten our first skip of the album. I'm just not into it. So after that, we have Way Out. Ooh. Oh, that's gorgeous. Oh, this section is gorgeous. My goodness. Yeah, Hyunjin is the right voice to fade out. He was the right pick for that last line. That was gorgeous. Not Way Out being Collision's evil cousin. Okay, so bad jokes aside, that was beautiful. I think you heard me say it. It's definitely more laid back and relaxed. Their raw vocals came out more clearly, which I love to see, especially in juxtaposition with their more chaotic, auto-tuned songs. Way Out is unequivocally an R&B track, but I love the breakout sections, engineered to a more hip-hop feeling for the rap parts. I want to say it was like during Chainman's part. Oh, no, I am spoiling myself. Don't do that. Yeah. Han and Seungmin for the intros, genius choice. Yeah, you go from like pure R&B into like a more of a hip hop feeling with the drums in the verses. Very relatable. The lyrics, I should say. I don't want to see you in my life again. You know what this reminds me of? Not a Stray Kids song, funnily enough. It's a Oh, it's that Twice Japanese release. What was it? It reminds me lyric-wise, not sound-wise. I forgot its name. Perfect World, that's what it was. That kind of reminds me of Perfect World with its, like, how should I say this? Ruthlessness? Like, literally telling the recipient of the song, like, get lost. Like, I don't want to even see you. But then also the bridge. That's Changbin? Oh my god, this part. And then it's gonna drop out into a beat where the bass gets boosted to high heaven. Boom. Disgusting. Filthy. Dirty. Do it again. It's such a simple detail. Like, it's not anything crazy, it's not revolutionary, I'm not trying to hype it up to that extreme, but it's just like an attention to detail that gets me with Stray Kids tracks. I love that. And then I can hear Changbin singing. It's always a good day when he sings, when I can actually hear his vocals. I will say, I feel as though Seungmin was a standout for me into this track. They all sounded good, but Seungmin has just like a crystal clear, cutting clarity in his voice that fits this vibe exceptionally well. He's the type of vocalist where he doesn't even really need to do anything crazy to just pierce through the noise, to make you only hear him. He was an excellent choice for opening up this track, along with Han, both of their voices together, heavenly. And even in the bridge, the part that I was just like fangirling over, he serves the same purpose of introducing the track's little nuances, where like a switch up is happening almost. Way Out also has Felix relaxing a little bit and singing in a more natural tone. This has generally been a trend for a while now, where Felix isn't being shoehorned into the deep voice role, which I am happy about. I know God's Menu blew Stray Kids up. A big part of that was Felix's appeal with his deep voice, and I have nothing against that. I mean, I'm a sucker for his lower register too, but hearing more sides of him will undeniably be a good thing in the long run. I just hate when idols explode in popularity for X reason, and then that's all they do until the end of time in their group songs. It's a travesty, because you know that they could be doing more, and I would assume that it gets boring for them to perform the same way every time, too. Did I do this by accident? I didn't mean to do that. Oh, reorder, I see. I don't know if I'll include this in the video itself, but while I was listening to Way Out, I added all of the songs into a different playlist so that I could reorder them. I mentioned it in the beginning. I was kind of confused with how the songs were ordered, because it's not usually how they would flow from one to the next in a usual Stray Kids release. So I tried to reorder it in a way that was more similar to how I have been experiencing their albums in the past. That being said, I haven't listened to Back Then, so we'll see. I did put it at the end in front of Festival Version. Festival Version is always at the end, but I did put it at the end because, generally speaking, the last song before Festival Version is a sentimental song. Back Then makes me think that it might be something like that. I will talk about this at length after I finish this album out, but that's what I was doing while I was listening to that. So, with that being said, let's get into this second and last one, Back Then. Okay, that's gonna be the end. Hold on. Did they have Hyunjin end both of the songs? Again, I told you, he's a really good choice for that. Like, his voice is really good for that kind of thing. They did. Hold on. And then with Way Out, they had him end out the track too. Yeah. He has a really delicate tone that makes that worth doing. Okay. I don't know if I'll include it, but I immediately was looking up Twice, because again, that song reminded me of a different one. Probably more similarly. What was it? It was a song I really liked. I think it happened after their contract renewal. I Heart You, One Spark. No, I Got You. That was what that reminded me of. I need to start a new playlist of songs that sound like this, because they're really up my alley. I don't think they're copies of each other, but they have a similar sentimental feeling with them that I really love. Okay, so I really try to hold myself back because I was really enjoying listening to it as like a whole experience. It was just a pleasant listen through all the way. It had like I said, a sentimental tinge to it that came through in like an almost calming effect. That sounds weird to say about a Stray Kids song, but it's how I felt. I would assume the songs are also hinting towards the nostalgia of it all, especially with the title of the song. Back then is pretty simple, but it utilized different driving forces that kept it from being boring. They used different melodic hooks. The chorus also quite simple, but they did use a richer delivery of their voices to enhance the song, to really make it worth listening to. Felix, again, showing a wider range of his voice that really added a novelty to the song. I'm really glad that they did this. This is a highlight, definitely. And Singman, man, I mean, I can't wait for his solo stuff. I know that's a weird thing to bring up suddenly, and I don't even know if and which members would consider doing a solo album, but Singman is at the top of my list for who I'm anticipating. I remember with the Skiz replay, I have the second one down here, but I remember show all, give me. No, it wasn't. Hold up. I thought it was the Skiz replay. No, it wasn't. It was Hop. That's where they had the solo songs. I liked all of them. What? Now I look like a liar. I liked all of them. Singman's, however, really caught me off guard. I was expecting to like his song. I wasn't expecting it to like it as much as I have. And as soon as I heard this song, I was like, oh, he's gonna do big things with like a solo career if he decides to do that, you know? If we were to compare Stray Kids with like other groups under JYP at the moment, I'm thinking Twice and ITZY. I think those are the only groups that are really similar to them in terms of age, right? And like Stray Kids haven't had like a solo project out yet. They've done solo songs. They've released stuff on YouTube, but I mean like proper promotions and stuff like that. They haven't really done, not like a proper debut. Twice have already had theirs. Who debuted? It was Nayeon, Jihyo, Chaeyoung, and Tsui, right? Am I missing somebody? I might be. I'm a pretty casual fan of them. I don't follow them quite as closely. And then with ITZY, I believe it is Yuna, whose Ice Creamed I loved, and then Yeji with Air. Stray Kids haven't really done that. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily because they don't want to go solo, or maybe they're trying to do as much group activities until, I'm gonna say Voldemort, until military service, and then maybe after that, they'd consider doing like solo work and space it out until they can like come back together as 8. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, Singman. Fuck. You know, I swear I am not playing this up for any kind of entertainment value. I legitimately just go on tangents like this when I don't have a script in front of me. That's why people have commented before that like, oh, you know, you sound quite articulate, but you also sound robotic at times with how you talk in your videos. And that's because if I do not have a script in front of me, I will talk your ear off. I will not stop. And then I'll forget what my main point even was. Singman's voice. I would love to hear, if he ever planned on doing one, a solo Singman album. I do think that he brings a vocal legitimacy when it comes to Stray Kids' vocal-heavy songs. Stray Kids have made their brand to be loud and maximalistic, so we often only hear the softer melodic side of them in B-sides. But I've always felt like Singman's voice makes them worth listening to. It's not to say that the others can't sing, but I don't know if they have like the special sauce when it comes to vocal-reliant tracks. I mean, if I were to be honest and rank them vocal-wise, I think Felix and Hyunjin are on the weaker side. Ian, Bangchan, Lino, and Changbin are average. Maybe Changbin is slightly higher, but we don't get to hear it enough and in different contexts to know for sure. And then Han and Singman are on the higher end of the spectrum. I would definitely pair those two together. However, Han usually gets relegated to the rapper position, so Singman is more often than not the one who's infusing the tracks with a magnetism that you can't get away from. And I think Back Then is a great example of that. All of them are good, but Seungmin was great, and Han was great because he actually got to sing in this one too. I would also, again, like to point out the kind of dip that got into here. Beautiful, so pretty. And then comparing that with the final chorus that he leads with. Yeah. I think that was such a good idea. And I actually really like that Felix is getting more comfortable in this lighter range. Before, when he went out of his comfort zone, I'm immediately thinking of Unfair, since I just brought up the Hop album. It was a bit of a hit or miss on how well it was executed, especially in live settings, but even these 4 lines show improvement compared to before. And you know what? Getting this side of his vocal range makes the deeper moments hit harder. Like, the dichotomy of having both of those in the same song is what makes it more addictive to listen to. And yeah, I also have a lot of love for this instrumental. I said before, it feels sentimental, and the more I listen to it, the more certain I become about that. I think it's really well constructed, even though it may be simple. The song feels nostalgic, even though I'm listening to it for the first time, or I guess you could call this the second time. I think Back Then was really well done. And finally, the festival version. I am so excited. You thought I was excited for the title track? You have no idea. The festival versions have become such an integral part of a Stray Kids release for me that if the day comes where they stop including them, I will be distraught. They are famously club and kind of rave oriented, and I suck it up every time. Let's fucking go. Oh, I feel like they could have done the drop better. I like the build-up. I love that the build-up was like for a solid minute. I feel like I'm being edged, and I don't know if I like it. I love the instrumental stuff that they're doing in the verses themselves. It sounds like a video game. Okay, that synth that they're using in the background, it kind of reminds me of... Okay, we'll see how old some of you are, depending on if you know this. Courtesy call. This is considered old now, unfortunately for you. See, it doesn't sound the same if it's not Nightcore. I have to find a good version of it. They don't sound right. I know that it's like a newer thing to call it like Alvin and Chipmunks version, but like that actually sounds like Alvin and the Chipmunks. Hold on. I swear I'm not going crazy. I haven't listened to this in forever. 120 million views. Sorry, hold up. Holy cow. Oh my god, I'm a sheep. Oh my god. See, that didn't sound the same as the ones on Spotify. I'm not crazy. Okay, ignore the guitar. Ignore the rock elements. Hold on. Okay, this is what it reminds me of. You're gonna call me crazy, and that's fine. No one's gonna agree with me on this. I already know it. I'm still gonna include it because it's my truth. This is what it reminds me of. Ignore the rock elements. That's what it reminds me of. I sound like a lunatic. I know no one else is gonna hear it but me. Fuck. See, it's there. It's there. Okay? I'm not talking about the synths before. I'm talking about the one here. I'm not making it better. I'm gonna continue. Love. I will say so far, I'm not a huge fan of the drops. I don't feel like they have a lot of payoff. I was joking before about being edged, but I legitimately feel like that is the case at this point. And then also, it feels like the mixing in the chorus is a little bit odd. I feel it's not the same issue that I had before with them sounding like they're in a tin can. That's not an issue. Regardless, this is a fucking rave at this point. But it sounds like they're kind of being muffled by the instrumental of the track, which isn't usually the case. Usually what happens in festival versions is that like the vocals become even more clear cut and kind of like piercing to the ear, which is interesting. Continuing. Okay. Listen, as much as I don't like the drop, I still love the rest of it. It still sounds fucking disgusting and I love it. So that is all 8 tracks. Now that we've had that, I kind of want to go back to this playlist and talk a little bit more about what I was referencing, and then also kind of give my thoughts overall. So to quickly run through, Run It, love. This and That, love. Farming, it has elements that I'm not super into, but I don't think it takes away from it enough for me to say that I don't like it. Way Out, love. I Do, skip. After You, as generic as it may be, I don't think it's a bad song, so I would probably still play it. Now, the question of whether I would actively seek it out is something I don't know. I don't think I would. It's not a skip, but am I going to come back to it? Probably not. Back Then, love. This and That, love. Even it feels like an edge fest that I don't get the payoff of, it's still it's so good. I love. And then let's also get into the ordering of this. This is what I was talking about before when I said like the ordering of it feels odd. Usually what happens with mini albums, EPs, this can even extend to full albums, it's not exclusive to their smaller projects, is that usually the first track is something anthemic, something celebratory. They've done this goodness knows how long already. Let me go to like a different album to kind of show what I'm talking about. Can I use 8 as an example? Yeah, I can. I could do it. Mountains, same. Do It. This was like a really small EP. I don't think I can apply the same logistics that I would normally. Walking on Water, I would consider that to be, lose my breath. Rockstar with Megaverse, that's also a really good example. Then it gets into the title track. And then you have something talking about how much better Stray Kids is than everybody else, okay? And these two are not the same. They're not the same. They sound like they're the same, but they're not. This is, we achieved something. This is, we've always been better than you. Then it starts getting into something a little bit more slower, not necessarily a fan song type of slow, but like R&B tracks are here. I'm also thinking about Collision. I'm thinking about The View. I'm thinking about Sorry I Love You. I'm thinking about Be Me. That's kind of where this avenue is. I Do is kind of a newer type of song that they've started including. I'm talking about like pop rock songs. Again, my feelings are evident by this point. Then you get into songs that are sentimental, but not slow. So I'm thinking of The Haven. I'm thinking of Runners. I'm thinking of Phoenix. I'm trying to use more recent examples as well. And then you get into maybe a sentimental song, not necessarily a fan song, although sometimes it is. And then you get into the festival version. This is more so what I was expecting, and then this is actually what we got. And that's why I was a little tripped up initially. Does it matter in the grand scheme of things? Maybe not, but I like things, once I've been presented with things in a particular order, I like keeping that particular order. That's just how my brain is. Now, how do I feel about that album? I do like quite a few songs on here. I've already talked about how I don't like that one that much. After You, it's not a skip. Will I come back? Who knows? Farming, I do see that as something that will grow on me. It would be one thing if my problems with it carried over to a large majority of the song, but they don't. So we'll see where that goes. But Run It, This and That, Way Out, After You, Back Then, festival version, really solid songs. I'm happy with those. I'm not going to give ratings of these songs right now because generally I have to listen to them like a few times before I settle on how I really feel about them. If I were to give a guesstimate as to where exactly I'd put this album, I want to say like maybe 6.5 out of 10, maybe a 7 out of 10. I'm thinking somewhere there. I don't think it's an amazing EP from them. I'm trying to think. What I would consider, I brought up the Rockstar album earlier, hold on. I would consider Rockstar to be like one of my favorite EPs or like mini albums from them. one after another, after another, after another, after another, after another, after another, after another. Straight bangers, okay? There's not a single skip on this album. You can disagree with me, that's fine. I'm talking from my experience. Not a single fucking miss on this mini album. I don't think that it's like that good, but I also don't think that it's that bad. So I'm like going through this. See, I like all these songs too. Stray Kids is kind of a skip. I still haven't really gone back to it after I listened to it. This is gonna piss people off. I came back to this album when I was like, oh, is this their worst album? Is that something I have to consider? And I came back to Levanter because I do consider this to be their weakest mini album. I don't think it's bad, to be clear, okay? I'm not saying that any of the songs on here are, well, here's the thing. Sorry, I'm already going into defensive mode because I know this is probably going to piss some people off. I don't think it's that great. I feel like I added these. Let me do it. It is what it is. Okay, it's fine. Stop, great song. Double Knot, great. Levanter, great. Booster, great. Astronaut, Sunshine, you could say, 3 skips that I would consider. It's not bad. I do think it's their weakest mini album that they've put out. I don't think This and That is worse than Levanter. As an album, as a song itself, great song. You know, I would never shit on my Queen Levanter like that. But yeah. Okay, yeah. I mean, solid album. If anything, it might be on par with Levanter. Farming, I'm not sure about. I do, and then After You. Everything else, I have no complaints about. I might have things that I would personally change, but are they like, I don't know, experience breaking or ending that they are the way that they are? No. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this release. Okay, so that wraps up all of my thoughts. This video is going to be a lot longer than I anticipated. I'm looking at how long I've been recording this after I started listening to After You, I believe, and it's been 58 minutes. I'm going to have to cut this down considerably. I did not mean to spend this long listening to 8 songs. Have I? It's only 25 minutes. It's 25 minutes and I've been recording for longer than an hour. I need to go to sleep. I need to take a break. I need to go do something else for a little while. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope that you enjoyed. Anyway, that'll be it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to leave your comments down below. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think of what I think. Please keep it civil though. You could disagree with me all you'd like. That's perfectly fine. I have no issues with that. But don't tell me to go kill my, especially not over music. That's ridiculous. I also don't think that I had any takes in this video that were that crazy. Anyway, that'll be it from me for now. See y'all later. Bye-bye.